Hi, this is Brennan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and I'm here with Adam Balderstone for another episode of Bedrock and Balderstone, and we're talking about Farscape, Season 1, Episodes 16 and 17. So that's A Human Reaction, which is the episode where Crichton returns to Earth through a wormhole, and some unexpected events occur, and Through the Looking Glass, which is a really odd episode where Moya... she gets lodged in a dimension of some kind, like another dimension. And
yeah, basically the equivalent of hyperspace.
Yeah.
It kind of splits into 3, I think, or is it 4? I don't know.
I can't remember, but it was a very odd episode, and it was a product of her starbursting. Starbursting, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Starbursting when she. I just realized it's named after the candy. Was that intentional, or was that just?
I have no idea. But
so she starbursted while she was pregnant, and apparently not an advisable time to starburst, and so so this happened. So I don't know, Adam. Do you want to? Do we need to go over the plot, or should we just get into our reactions to it? Because I know our time today is a little more limited than usual.
Yeah, I think, obviously you gave the summaries already, so yeah, just give your opinion on the first episode. What do you think?
So, A Human Reaction I enjoyed. I was a little on the fence at first, which I often am in programs, but it was weird because the episode had a totally different tone than all the other episodes that I've seen. It felt like they were playing this heavy music in the background, and I felt like it was the kind of music you would have heard in an evening like soap drama or something. Do you know what I mean? It was like and like not just a soap drama, but maybe even something like Walker Texas Ranger, or other types of shows that I felt like it was trying to make me feel like I was on Earth. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like that was the effect that they were going for with the tone.
Yeah.
And then there was that, and again there are spoilers here, that holy shit, Rigel just got killed moment in the show, and then I was like, well, they couldn't have possibly killed Rigel, so this must be some kind of hallucination or some kind of fantasy. And I was starting to get annoyed because I was like, well, if this is just a dream, I'm going to be really pissed off. Do you know what I mean? But and it was kind of just a dream, but it did kind of also happen. So I felt that.
Yeah. Exactly, I agree with that. There's a lot of consequential things about this episode, and there's things you don't even know that will matter about this episode in the future. So it's not a cop out like, haha, nothing happened. It's like, if nothing else, it's like, because all of the main characters were in this hallucination. It's like everything that happened between Crichton and Aaron, that all really happened. Which is huge.
But they cut through that, right? And we didn't see anything, so we don't know the full details. Correct?
They did. They did sleep together. That is
But there was a weird exchange of dialogue the next day between Crichton and Aaron. And so
it's fine, but it's just not the top priority right now.
But here's the thing. Okay, so here's the line of dialogue. He basically said, "So Aaron, about last night," and she said, "Oh, it's fine." Okay, so that's the kind of conversation that would often be had if impotence was an issue. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, in a TV show.
I didn't read it that way. I just read it as him feeling awkward about in general.
Well, it's when she said it's fine. That's when I thought, oh, maybe like he couldn't do anything that night. Do you know what I mean?
I just read it as just her business-like manner of, look, we've just run a she's just a very but she's not a romantic person or anything, and she just that was fine, but
here's the thing. So you're probably right. You're the bigger fan than me, and you know what's coming down the pike here. So I'll assume that you're correct. But I think what I'm observing here is a good argument for why they should include some amount of sex when sex is supposed to happen. Simply because I didn't know. I honestly concluded that he was impotent the night before because that was my reading of the dialogue. So.
Yeah, but no, that is not the way I read it. But yeah, but as far as things from there, and I think one interesting thing with her character in here that's just a notable revelation of her as a person is that she has no concept of family loyalty at all. It is literally an alien concept to her. It's like, when Crichton trusts his father and whatever, it just the idea of trusting him, Crichton trusting him with his father is just something that to her means nothing at all. It just doesn't. She is just totally can't accept that.
Well, and she also has a moment with the father, right? When which I don't know what she said in that scene, but I think it was something positive that he, that was basically some kind of acceptance of him or whatever. So I thought that was a nice moment. And at first, when they revealed what was going on, I was like, wait, that whole scene is now kind of undercut by everything that's just been revealed, because
he's not really the father.
Yeah, but at the same time, no, because there was still a real moment between her and that alien creature that was playing.
Yeah, it was a moment for Aaron. I mean, Aaron doing that was a moment for her. Like I said, it's not a real relationship between her and the father, but it was her willingness was still something.
And also, I liked that this sort of created some kind of really strange bond between the alien and Crichton. It was a And also, I think another thing about this episode I enjoyed, it's basically kind of the Truman Show, right? Like, that's sort of it's like a weird version of the Truman Show. Especially in the scene when they find the magazines, and he's like, these magazines are all like 7 months old, or whatever. So that scene is when I was really kind of like, okay, I really want to know what's going on here now, because like the way that it was sort of like, oh, that guy over there I knew from high school, and that guy over there I know, and like I know everybody here. It's all from my memory. What's going on? So I like the way that it was revealed, and I don't know. I just enjoyed the episode. I was very worried when I thought Rigel was dead. I was very concerned when is the squid guy? What's his name?
Now you've made me forget. Dargo.
Dargo, thank you. I don't know why. I wanted to call him something else, and it was D, but it was the wrong word. But I was very concerned when he was shipped off to the other facility, and because at first I was like, well, they wouldn't kill the characters, would they? And then I was like, well, maybe they've been planning to do it all season, and they're just going to drop them. So
it's going to change its format from their budget got cut. Now it's going to be a show about Aaron and Crichton on the run across Earth, like kind of an Incredible Hulk type series where they go to a new town every week.
No, but they added a new character, right? So like I was like, oh, maybe they have a whole new crew that they're kind of trying to build. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
so,
well, they did keep Zahn and Chiana out of the being captured thing. Yeah. So there could have been something to that. But it's a really solid episode. I think and it's like you say, there's a different tone to it. I think the scene with Crichton and Aaron, kind of right before the sex scene you don't see, where they're just in the apartment and he's looking out the window and there's kind of the storm and everything. It's like, that's just a really good kind of dramatic scene there, I think, which has a very, very quiet tone to it, which is very different than Farscape usually is.
And it was also very weird just being in like a mundane street with cars in the rain, right? It just felt odd.
Yeah.
It made me think that more alien planets should have mundane streets with cars and rain to sort of,
mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally my hometown too. I mean, that's all like shot, and like, oh yeah, I know that beach, and
but it was also it's generic enough that it could have been anywhere, right? Because it just kind of like looked like any like that part of the city they were in just kind of looked like any sort of residential area. So I just immediately was kind of like, oh, this feels a little bit weird. What? Hello? Looks like
you're back.
Okay.
Something went wrong there, but I think we're good now.
Okay, yeah. Skype has been having issues, people. I mentioned this in a podcast that won't air until next week, but you will be, Adam, we just and this is a side topic, but we split that podcast in two, so we're going to resume that next week.
Cool.
And listeners will find out next week what exactly I'm talking about. But I promise you, it's going to be exciting. But Skype has been acting up terribly, so we apologize.
Apologies on behalf of Microsoft.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was curious how you'd react to this episode, because once again, a lot of people would be upset about the whole fake out thing. But yeah, one thing that's kind of interesting actually is this was shot at Fox Studios in Sydney, and it came out the same exact year as The Matrix, which was also shot at Fox Studios in Sydney. So,
and it's funny because it being set in Australia was the thing that made it harder for me to interpret the initial, like, what's going on here exactly, because I know nothing about Australian government and how things are done and what passes for reasonable versus unreasonable. So I was just, it made it more harrowing in a lot of ways, because I think if it was set in America, I might have more immediately been set, like I might have perceived more readily something's not right here. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, well, I like the early clue that they give you. Like, it's not really a clue you can pick up on, but it's something you notice the second time you watch it. When he's in the cell and they haven't let him out yet, he's like, can you give me some magazine that isn't 7 months old? He's like, all upset because he thinks because they're trying to hide things from him. And it's like, no, even when you get out in the rest of the world, it's still going to be the same problem. Yeah. It's because it's all out of your memory. That's why. And that's a good little clue there.
I do have to say though, Crichton, he's got some deep knowledge of what would you call it? Checkout lane magazine material, dude.
He likes his magazine rack. Okay, I mean, I don't know, maybe.
Because I can tell you, if it were me, I think those magazines would probably be all blank covers. I wouldn't have much memory to draw on.
Well, of course, keep in mind, we are citizens of the year 2019, where magazines are largely a defunct concept.
That's true, but I think even back in the day.
I feel like there was one other point that I had before we shift on here. Man, now it's escaped me. But yeah, it's but I don't know. If it comes to me, I'll interrupt our discussion of the next episode and jump back. So,
okay.
Unless you got more to say.
No, I'm all set. And so the next one is Through the Looking Glass, episode 17. And I guess I should just start with my opinion on it. Is that the...
Yeah, go with that.
So I wasn't as into this episode. I think maybe I was being unfair to it. I just found myself having trouble getting into it. And I think the reason was positioning. If this had occurred earlier in the season, I probably would have been fine with it. But on the heels of A Human Reaction, I wanted something that felt more rooted in, like, everything actually exists around you, and I wanted something that just felt solid and real. And what I got was an even more confusing. I was legitimately confused for like the first 15 minutes of the episode, and I thought there was something wrong with me. I was like, oh man, I must really be losing it because I am not following what is going on here. And maybe that's to an extent somewhat true, but at the same time, I think I was just so disoriented from having done A Human Reaction, then jumping into this, and my brain was just like begging for a little bit of peace before it gave me something of this nature.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think this is actually an episode that's better the second time you watch it too, because you're kind of more aware of what Crichton's up to and everything. Because it's definitely a challenging episode too, because it's like, sometimes Farscape really likes to push the viewer's buttons. It's like, let's have a dimension where there's just an annoying noise playing all the time.
That drove me crazy. That made me... well, so number one, the noises that if they were trying to annoy people, they succeeded. So, I have to at least give them points for that. But I also don't like being annoyed. And so the sounds were the most infuriating sounds that I could imagine. And it wasn't just that they were infuriating sounds. They were infuriating sounds, and you could hear just enough audio to be frustrated as you tried to follow the dialogue. that was going on, and then it would like drop in and out, and it was maddening. It was maddening. I was so angry during those scenes, and so I think this episode just did everything in its power to tick me off and push me away as a viewer. So I don't know, but is this a well liked episode, or is this a
I don't know if there's a strong opinion on it. It definitely isn't one of the ones I hear brought up as being hated or anything. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. Okay. I actually really enjoyed watching it this time, just because I was kind of knowing the mechanics of what was going on. I'm like, okay, I was following it better, and I like a lot of the comedy in this episode. I mean, I like the whole miming between Aaron and Crichton. I find pretty enjoyable, and Dargo's outrage at Crichton repeatedly puking at his station where he's stuck. He's like, "Oh, I don't want that here. Do that." No, that just entertains me, and it's, I mean, and the bookends of the episode with them wanting to all leave Moya and split up and go their separate ways, and the ending, I think comes together pretty well. So there's a lot of I get why a lot of people are maddened by this episode, but I find it pretty enjoyable overall. Okay.
Yeah, and I was not thrilled by the episode, but I think it wasn't that it was like, terrible. It was also just that I had already seen enough episodes like this that I just didn't need it at this point in the series. I felt like I would have much preferred to see something that follows a little bit of the, what had happened last episode, right? Because that was a pretty big episode, and I kind of wanted some of that stuff to maybe be handled.
It will be soon, I'll say that much.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much everything is connected going forward in this season. This is kind of the last kind of stray episode, and I don't mean like in a sense that they don't feel like complete stories, but everything kind of flows. Every episode ends where the previous one began from this point on.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I kind of want the story to. I like when you have a season like this where there's individual episodes, but it all sort of ultimately leads in a direction. It's sort of like there's like maybe some kind of sprint to the finish line at the end. That's always a good I like that structure. I like that much better than there's a thread the whole way through. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's actually your preferred structure is the structure for every season of Farscape.
Okay. So, all right, that's good. That's good.
I'm a big fan of the seasonal structure in this show.
And so what are we and also we should mention there is sort of like a moral crisis in this one, right? Because there's the issue of Moya's baby. And like they're basically debating whether they should get rid of the baby or not. So it's kind of like the, I don't know, you would call it like spaceship abortion episode. Like it's a, it's like a there's a moral conundrum at a certain point, and they ultimately decide to keep the baby.
They decide that either all going or none of them, basically. So that's the way they're going to go.
And so I thought that was one of the parts of the episode that I was intrigued by, was the Moya's baby. And I was also intrigued by that weird extra dimensional creature that Crichton was interacting with. I thought that was a really clever creature design, because it was like a woman's voice, but that look was so bizarre. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. But I got the concept immediately. Do you know what I mean? It just clicked. Like like everything fell into place with that entity. So, but it was arrived at by very unusual means. I
know that other people find that a challenging episode, so you're not alone there. And like I said, I do think it's better the second time, but if the noises were that painful to you, I don't know that I really want to. I don't know that it's that much better the second time that it would be worth the agony. So
yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I just didn't. I mean, this happened once before. There was an episode where there was a noise, and I was very annoyed. Right, I seem to recall that.
There was probably the IET episode if there was the peacekeeper alarm on the ship that kept going.
I think that might have been it. Yeah, there was an episode where there was a noise and it was really starting to bother me.
That one does bother me. I'm not as bothered. The noise that they use in this episode doesn't infuriate me the same. But that noise in IET, that is an annoying noise.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, so I don't know. What's the next episode? A Bug's Life. So
A Bug's Life and Nerve, I believe, are the two episodes we have next.
Okay. I mean, I'm now I'm wondering. Now I'm worried because you say that things become relevant from the love scene, and so now I'm like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. So what are what?
Well, I mean that it's I just mean that it is something that really happened between the characters is my main point. Yeah, there was actually, you see, one reason I'm so clear on what happened is because there was a lot of debate between season 1 and 2 with fans. All like, they were debating, wait, did Aaron and Crichton really get together? Because was that real? And the creators felt the need to step in between the seasons and say to fans online, yes, that Aaron really was there, and that really happened between them. So that was we didn't mean for it to be ambiguous. So
no, that's so yeah, that's and actually, just because we do have a few more minutes, I wanted to ask you, Adam, did you hear, because you mentioned creators, did you hear about the Starbucks cup on Game of Thrones by any chance?
I did. I'm behind on Game of Thrones. I haven't watched this season yet, but I did see the coffee cup snapshots going around.
I'm a whole season behind, so I have to catch up with last season before I can watch this season, which means I'll probably never watch it, or I'll have to wait until next year.
I think the creators of the show need to embrace that as their trademark now. They're apparently gonna be doing the Old Republic movies for Star Wars. So it's that coffee cup needs to show up somewhere in the Old Republic in a Star Wars movie now. That needs to be the game you play while watching their movies.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
I don't think they did it on purpose. Well, maybe. I mean, anything is possible. I mean, people like things going viral, but maybe I could see it. I could see some marketing person thinking, "Hey, let's put this crazy thing in here, and everyone will go nuts on the internet and be talking about Game of Thrones online all day."
Well, they were talking about it. It was bad press, but
there's no such thing. Everyone's gonna have to jump to HBO and watch that episode now and find the coffee cup in it. So
well, and when I looked it up online, one of the first things that came up was a Reddit thread, and I don't understand Reddit, so I don't know how Reddit works exactly. But when I opened it, there was a meme, I think a meme, that said as if we needed reason. Further reason to know they don't care anymore or something like that. You know what I mean? So if it is press, it's probably not the kind of press that they want. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's now they've opened a whole door for Starbucks crossover Game of Thrones stuff, right? So.
Yeah, well, it's the last season of Game of Thrones, so it's not a particularly lucrative door.
There's always the DVD box set. You can always there's always another thing that they can sell. So
they've been already announced in the DVD. It's going the Blu-ray, I guess it would be now. It's going to be digitally erased. So which makes me kind of sad.
I don't think so.
I think it should stay in there. Yeah,
that pisses me off. I feel like I understand why they're doing it, but I really feel like it's history now. Just leave it.
Embrace the purity of your accident.
Yeah. I saw Cobra Kai season 2. So
you have? Okay. I should in the next week have a little more free time to embrace season 2 of Cobra Kai.
I really want to get people on Cobra Kai because I have very strong opinions about what I saw. And
okay.
I would like to, and I don't know if other people are going to share my opinions. I feel like I might be alone in the room, but I would like to know what other people think. I'll
definitely get to that.
It's so yeah. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you, so I won't say anything beyond that. But we'll talk about Cobra Kai hopefully in the next week or so. And this Friday we are doing Ong Bak, right, on Wuxia Weekend.
We are, yes.
So for those who don't know, Ong Bak is it's like a Muay Thai martial arts movie, basically starring Tony Jaa, and it came out I think in 2003. And it was when it first came out, it was like I was blown away when it came out. I don't know if everybody else was, but I was just thrilled, and it was sort of like I saw it as a groundbreaking movie, and I was expecting that we were going to get all these other movies with Tony Jaa. We did get other movies with him, but I expected him to become much bigger than he became after that movie. So anyways, we'll be back probably Sunday or Wednesday for another episode of Farscape, especially now that we're getting at the end, and there's plenty of other stuff coming out this week, and people should check out our Patreon. All the rest I will post links in the description below. As you can probably tell, I'm a bit tired sounding. I do want to say I'm a little under the weather today, so that's part of it. But also, it's been a very long day. So anyways, we will be back on. We will talk to you later.